Okay, all right. So, our objective is to just chat about, debrief on my observation
Sure.
and develop our kind of our joint planning, or your individual action plan, but also a plan for our moving forward.
Okay.
So, I wanted to start off with just hearing from you a little bit about what you feel is going well, and what are the areas that you feel like you might need a little support in.
Okay. Areas that I feel like are going well are routines, being consistent with them, trying to focus on each individual child for communication needs, trying to work on maybe some beginning stages of like some verbal behavior with some of those guys, which I've been able to do this year a little more easily because I have such a small class size.
And tell me a little bit about what you're doing in terms of VB with that.
So I've only had a little bit of exposure to it through our ABA trainings, but just trying to look at all of, kind of trying to see where the child is in terms of that. So I have one child who's like at the manding stage, so to honor the mand at this point, but then also trying to use other SDs to elicit certain responses. Like I realized recently after watching one of our ABA videos that I had been doing a lot of fill-in of the same thing, like saying, oh, it's a, and then leaving for the child to fill in. And I don't want a child to become dependent on that. So I've been kind of trying to like mix them up a little bit.
Great.
And just trying to keep that throughout the whole day. Some things that I definitely want to work on are play. And helping explain it to my adults. I've had a lot, especially one adult that has told me she tries, I give her some data sheets and I kind of, but she says I don't really know how to play with the children and things like that. So, and I tend to take over a lot of times, and sometimes I'll pull the kids to do some table time and things like that. But I feel a lot of the times that it falls on me, and I feel like I have to be the behavior person and this person, and sometimes I do, but learning how to help my staff take some of that pressure, not just in play, but across all contexts, is something.
Necessary.
Getting some. I feel like with the early achievements approach, I feel like I've really embraced it. I really like it. I really see some positive results. I get a little bit of like anxiety when I'm planning for it because it's so much to do and kind of transfer the whole classroom and this and that. And I feel like sometimes it's hard for me to pinpoint specific things to pull from the text, depending on this book is good for this or this book is good for this. Like I said, I feel comfortable with it, much more so than I did with other approaches in the past. But just kind of sitting down and getting all of the pieces there and not making it so hard on myself. I tend to make things hard on myself and try to get 7 IEP goals done and this standard and this standard. So kind of focusing and knowing what to pinpoint and focus on for each thing.
So kind of on the more of the planning stage.
Yes, that I feel like, and then I feel like that is probably the best place to start. And getting all those pieces there and kind of getting things set up with this approach since it's my first year doing it, so that years to come it won't be so much to do.
I know.
Because it's amazing and I see so many good results and a lot of like generalization over all context, which I feel really confident about. I do feel really good about that with exposing them to all these different things, and we're getting all nice language and things like that. So I think those are my 2 main things. Data collection, kind of just going, over the whole thing. Knowing how to make appropriate data sheets. I tend to make data sheets over and over and over and over. And I know I'm learning. I'm still a new teacher, but knowing, kind of setting it up to help myself be successful with taking the data and making it so that the adults understand it and things to that degree. And incorporating those into maybe table time or small group versus the standard small group type curriculum type things. I feel like for the group I have this year, some can, some kind of handle some of the higher level concepts like hot and cold or wet and dry that we're doing with this book, and then some need to work on stacking or, things like that. So just feeling comfortable, I guess, doing that and not having like a set direct instruction small group
Right.
has kind of been something too that I'm working on.
Great. Absolutely. And data collection is something, it's a process,
Yeah.
like so many things, but it really is, you try it,
Yeah.
you analyze it, and then you see what modifications you need
Right.
to make to it. So one other question I was going to ask you is, based on like watching you teach, how does it feel to you when you're teaching?
It feels good. But I'm always worried that I'm missing something, or I'm always worried that I feel like sometimes I'm a little all over the place. I feel, like I said, I feel good. I feel like I know the kids, and watching myself on the videos, there were some things that were good and then some things that I didn't like, but I liked seeing it from that perspective because I could kind of look at myself and say, okay, maybe here you were giving too many verbal prompts in all these different ways, but here you were really helping access, what they knew or this and that or whatever. So I feel confident, but I'm very hard on myself.
Okay.
So I'm always kind of doubting what I'm doing, and to have that extra validation is very rewarding.
Yeah.
For sure.